Ah. Yeah, so I apologize for the angle and the lighting, but the lighting in here is fucking shit. Um, I just finished recording drums for the new EP, New Wave of Newfoundland Black and Heavy Metal, N.W.O.N.F.L.D.B.H.M. I'm sweating like a fucking pig right now, as my dad would say. Oh my god, yeah, there's two tracks in here that are, well, one's more punk and the other one's kind of like old school speed metal. So there's some fast fucking drums on this thing. Holy fuck. Anyway, there's like 5 tracks on here. Um, I will talk about them very briefly because I don't want to give too much away. But the first one's the title track, which is basically an homage to the black metal scene in St. John's and just in Newfoundland in general. People have said before that there isn't much of a scene, so to speak, but I kind of disagree on that because I think that while there aren't, well, there isn't really, yeah, so there isn't really a scene. There are a lot of musicians who are doing black metal in Newfoundland, a lot of one-man black metal bands. I mean, right off the top of my head, there's me. Then there's my buddy Adam with Bone Alley and Oxygen Chapel, and there's Vorped, which isn't around anymore as far as I know. I think he gave up. Solitarian, Decima Morta, Three Merlins, the list goes on. Yeah, not all these projects are like releasing, fantastic music. Like some of them are great, some of them are below par, but I think black metal has had a pretty big resurgence in Newfoundland in comparison to some other genres. So yeah, if you've never heard of those projects before, I highly recommend checking them out. Then the next track is Bastant Fist Assault. Bastant is a word, a Swedish word that I learned from Fenris in one of the interviews that he was giving, which basically means something that's really heavy. It's kind of an untranslatable word, but Bastant Fist Assault is basically a song about beating the shit out of people or getting in a fight. Very, very base subject matter, but it's also the most punk song on this EP. The next track is what is the next track? Tinder Insurgents, which is the doomiest song on the album. And that song is basically about the nostalgia I have for my childhood, because my dad used to be a lumberjack and he used to go up in the woods and like cut trees down with the chainsaw, or when he was at work he would be doing it with like one of the bigger machines they have, like a forwarder. He worked in the woods for a long time, for a good 30 years at least. And several times I would go up in the woods with him and, just kind of hang around while he was cutting down trees. And there's a very specific feel to being in an area like that and kind of watching that kind of thing happen. And the smell of the cut wood in the air is so strong, and you get appreciation for like sawdust and stuff like that. So that song is kind of it's a throwback to that period of my life. The next track after that is Penchant for Pendants, which was slightly inspired by Skyrim, but not necessarily and entirely. It's basically a song about an archaeologist who is looking for ancient enchanted jewelry. And yeah, there's not really much to it besides that. That's literally what it's about. But it's the most speed metal song on the album. It really reminds me of like Iron Maiden, like that kind of like. There's some harmonized guitar leads in there, which I don't do very often. So I feel like that song's going to be a bit of a standout. And then last is Our Old Haunts. That's the last track on the EP, and that song is I don't want to say homage again because I've said it 3 times at this point, but it's basically an homage to the places where me and my friends would hang out when we were teenagers. Like in Glovertown, the town where I'm from, places like the Old Mill, playground, the park. All these like little areas that we would congregate and hang out because there wasn't really much else to do. We just kind of go there, maybe get drunk, maybe do some other things, just fuck around basically. So that song is basically, yeah, it's an homage to that. I guess a lot of my music lately has been kind of talking about my youth, and the things that happened to me, the memories that I have of that period of time. Even though like I'm only like I'll be 26 as of tomorrow, as of the day of this filming, but I do look back on that period of my life both with immense anger, but also immense nostalgia, and that really informs a lot of my music, especially the last two albums that I've done. You know, Alexander Bay and Terra Nova, both those records are very much like a love letter to Glovertown and to the experiences of my childhood. And while I'm not going to really tackle that in a conceptual way again in the future, in regards to full length albums, I am going to continue to talk about it because it's obviously something that's very important to me. But yeah, this album, this EP, it should be out hopefully before the end of autumn. I'm aiming for early October, but we are in the last days of September now. This is September 22nd, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it done that quickly, but I'm really hoping so. I just finished recording. I got some people who are going to do some guest parts on this album. I'm not going to reveal who they are just yet, but depending on if they're okay with it, I might get some video of them in this vlog. So yeah, I hope you like the new EP, New Wave of New Wave of Newfoundland Blackened Heavy Metal, coming to you soon from fucking Montreal, Quebec. I'm tired and sick right now, which is why I sound like this. But remember to stay fucking heavy. This is your boy Greg. Peace out.